All right. Wonderful. So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm Brenda. If you don't know who I am, I'm Brenda, and Charlie's not here today. So Miriam Stallsworth, thank you so much, sis, has decided to jump in and help me out, along with Pietra in South Africa, and she is co-hosting with me so that she is letting everybody in and making sure that everyone's mics are turned off and all of those fun technical things. Charlie is feeling a little under the weather today, so she is taking some much needed time off. So we bless her and we pray. We just pray just Shabbat blessings upon her and her family, her and her husband. And she wanted me to please encourage you to jump over to the Rooted Cafe and join us there in the Rooted Cafe. You can get our blogs there free, and there are some things that are free over there in the Rooted Cafe, www.therootedcafe.com. Jump over there. There's a lot of free things, but if you want to join us and support this ministry, then you can join us there. It's super cheap, $19.95 a month. And that will help us to enable us to continue doing these things that we're doing, you know, blessing people and pouring out. And we promise to bless you abundantly, super, super abundantly. I promise. There's a lot going on over there. We have a lot of teachings, and all of the conferences are free when you join the Rooted Cafe. So that is just that alone pays for your year subscription. And then all of the teachings and
all the teachings and classes.
All the teachings, you know, just like one of the teachings retails for $169, and that's free on the Rooted Cafe. And another one of the teachings retails for $139, and that's free. So when you join the cafe, you have all of these different teachings from different people. It's wonderful, and it's all free. So that's it. That's my little blurb. And I just pray that you'll be able to come over and join us and be part of our community. And man, we're having a great time over there with everybody being able to jump in and have intimate conversations weekly. We have weekly live discussions several times a week with different calls that we do. And I love the interaction from women all over the world. I just love it, Miriam. It has been such a blessing to us. So that's enough of that, but I just wanted to let you know, please come on over and be part of that. We would really love to have you all. Miriam, this portion, Ekev.
Oh, wow.
My gosh.
Wow.
I told you this morning, the whole book. This is the whole
book of Deuteronomy.
I'm telling you, this is Moshe is like giving us his final, this is like the final thing that he's doing. And he is pouring out. It's like if you knew that you were going to be leaving this earth in just a couple of weeks, what would you tell your children? What would you give to them that would prepare them and equip them and empower them to be so successful? Because that's the whole thing with families, is that in the family unit, the way that God set it up is that the parents are to empower the children, infuse the children, strengthen the children with everything that they need so that they can go out and be successful, and that they can do the same with their families. And so Moshe is being a good daddy here, and he is pouring out to us the wisdom, the beauty. I mean, and it's not just like, do this, don't do this. It's like, do you know how much your Father loves you? Do you know what he wants to do for you? Do you realize how far he will extend his arms? Do you realize he's going to reach into your generations and their generations and their generations? I mean, Moshe is really giving us everything that we have need of right here, right now. Don't you think, Miriam?
Yes. And like this father to his children, he's also saying, now remember about those spies. Remember.
That's right.
They didn't listen. You know.
Don't be golden calfing with me. And don't be spying.
Right. Yeah. And don't reporting fake news, right?
That's right. Don't be blaspheming and picking up some idols and bringing them home and, you know, knock it off now. Come on.
Yeah. And you know how sometimes kids don't like Okay, you're going to tell us again.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You already told us once.
yeah, yeah. And how you did this when you were younger,
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you said, he's pouring out his heart and
He
he's
really
saying,
is.
please, please, I want you to go into this land
Yeah,
and I want you to love it.
yeah.
And when you're going to walk through it,
Mm.
oh, wow.
Wow.
And just remember these things. And one part it says, because one rabbi said, because you have listened. And another one says, if you will listen.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it can be taken two ways. One
Yeah,
is
it can.
very
Hmm.
unconditional,
Hmm.
and one is very conditional,
Yeah.
because we know about there is blessings and there are curses. And my
Yes.
dear friend in Israel, in Itamar, she can look out of her kitchen window. Ladies, can you imagine looking out your kitchen window and seeing the mountain of blessings and the mountain of right there
Right
from your
there.
window, right there? Wow. Just
Yep.
it was so incredible. But what a heart he has, and what he's trying to tell the people. But there's just so much. And I see also this Torah portion all about gratitude, and
Absolutely.
about all the time. My husband,
Hmm.
every time after we eat, and especially on Shabbat, he said, and that's in Deuteronomy, when you've eaten, you're satisfied. Thank the Lord God for the good land. And how
Yeah.
wonderful is that?
Oh
And
my gosh.
yeah. And
Yeah,
so
he
it's
really
all
does.
gratitude. It's
He
all gratitude.
he really does. He really is giving us the the tools for success here. He really
Yes.
is, because
Yes.
he loves us, and because he is filled with the Spirit, just as he was filled with the Spirit and he laid hands on Joshua and
Mm-hmm.
imparted to him, so that Joshua would be able to rise up with everything that he had need of. That's what I love. The Hebrew alphabet talks a lot about that when you study out the Hebrew alphabet. And there we go, Rika. Um, the Hebrew alphabet really shows us how we are to empower our families and empower them and equip them and strengthen them and give them safe places to fail, which the Holy One does. He gives us
Yes.
safe places to fail because he wants us to do our best. And when we
Right.
fail, it's awesome because he's right there to pick us up.
Right. Right. Right.
He doesn't
Right.
condemn us, but he just says, do it better next time. Let's try that again. One more
Right.
time. Let's go.
Right.
But the Aleph is the father, and the Bet is the home and the place where all of that is taking place. And then the Gimel is when the kids leave home and you have equipped them to be prosperous, you've equipped them to be successful, and they get out of the house and they go and they spread that out. And then
Yes.
they go and find their place, and then they build their home, and then they continue it. They give, they care for, they love. Really, Miriam, what I really love about this Parsha, and I hope that everybody got a chance to at least read through it once. I was gonna suggest, I know that some of you are really busy and you have really busy lives. And so sometimes you don't get a chance during the week to read the Parsha, the portion. But listen, there's a lot of free apps online that you can get and download them to your phone,
And
and
listen.
you can listen to them. That's what I do. I listen to the Parsha. Um, I use my favorite is the living version, the Tree of Life version.
Mm-hmm.
I just like that. But I also use the Blue Letter Bible version, and I pop that on and I listen to that. There's several. The Gateway has one. I mean, really,
Yes.
just Google it. There's
Right.
thousands of different apps out there, but you can pop that in, listen in your car. You can listen on your phone when you're at the grocery store. I mean, seriously, find a way to get these words into your brain and into your life, because this is what he's talking about. I really want to talk a little bit about the difference between obeying and shemaing, because what he asks for us to do is actually shema, not obey. And I know that that's a little bit confusing to some people. They're like, well, no, we're supposed to obey the commandments. Well, actually, the word is Shema, and it doesn't mean obedience in the sense that you do it because you'll get in trouble if you don't, or you do it whether you care or not. Shemaing actually is having a heart change, so that what you're doing is embracing what's being told because it's a love relationship. Shemaing requires an intimate relationship. Obeying does not. We obey the rules of the land. We don't necessarily love the rules. We don't love having to stop at the stop sign. We don't really love that. We don't have a relationship with that. But when the Holy One says to Shema his word, it's because the benefit of intimacy with him is so phenomenal. It's so much, he gives so much more than we could ever give back.
Yes.
And
yes.
he's asking for us to have that, embrace that, and embrace him. And in doing that, it's not an obedience type of thing that is just a rote, do it because you have to, do it so that you get blessed. It's a love relationship. It is
like
doing it because you love him.
Right.
Just why wouldn't I?
Yes.
Right, Miriam?
Right.
Why wouldn't you? If he's telling you that to benefit you, to benefit the world, and to heal the brokenness of this earth, and the brokenness of the people of this earth, and the brokenness of the families of this earth, if he's saying embrace me and embrace what I say to you, why wouldn't we?
Right. Right. And you know, I was just I've been so blessed. And ladies, I was telling Brenda, I've just been so excited. I have new neighbors next to me, and I prayed for my neighbors next to me. And all my neighbors, when they're new on my block, as best I can, I make them bread, because I make the challah every Friday. But I'll sometimes even make it other times if I have to. And I don't say, okay, this is Jewish bread or whatever,
right?
Because a lot of them don't even know. But I present them with the bread, and oh, when it smells so good, and you know, and because so many people are so busy, like you say, they come in and they pull up their garage door and they put it down, or they close their blinds, and you never really get to know them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're saying about really knowing, like a husband knows a wife, you know.
Yeah.
And so, but so we've had our neighbors over for Shabbat, and we had never done this before. And then one neighbor said to me, wow, well, my grandparents are Hungarian Jewish, but I don't know anything about them. My grandfather was very old when I started to really, you know, be able to talk to him. And then he passed away. And so she said, I've been wanting to learn this. And then she's been sharing it with her sister. But the two couples, when they came, and we look into each other's eyes, and ladies, I sure, if you have that opportunity to do the blessing of Psalm 112 over your husband, and then they did the Proverbs 31, the Eshet Chayil, the husbands, and they looked in their eyes, and one lady could not get through it. She was sobbing, sobbing. And so this is what we're missing. This is what we're missing if with families. Everybody is so busy. I was telling someone, we go to services on Saturday, and as we're driving through, there's a McDonald's right kind of around there, or a lot of, you know, fast food. The line is all the way around the block, or weeknights. It could be 8 o'clock at night, because families, they don't sit around the table anymore. Right. They don't look at each other. And if all of you can remember, wow, when you were little, hopefully you had that opportunity to sit around the table when you were a child. But how many of us had that blessing? And that is what is so incredible. So it's not over in a half an hour. It's not over in an hour. And that table becomes that altar. And wow, it's transformed. And you just take that deep breath, and you, wow, and blessing your children. And so that's really we're listening and we're looking into each other's eyes, and you can't be mad at each other, can you? You can't,
No.
you
Mm-hmm.
cannot be mad at each other. And I
Mm-hmm.
know when I had to work and I come home and, sometimes I have a lot of people over for dinner. Oh, wow. I'm trying to take a shower, get everything ready, and it could be a little crabby, right? A little crabby, a very non-kosher, right? And then some people would be early, but oh my gosh, they're ringing the doorbell. They're early. I've got a towel around me. Charles, can you get the door? And and you're just going, oh. And then by the time though you look at the table and they're all around it, I'm sure you've
Yeah.
all experienced this. Wow,
Yeah.
wow is what all I can say. And that all just kind of vanishes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It
I
really
think this
does.
is like Moses is saying to these people, wow, you have such an opportunity now, such an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity in this new land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't mess it up. Don't mess it
Yeah.
up. And they're
Yeah.
going to mess it
Yeah.
up.
Of
And
course.
he's still going to love them and he's still
Yeah.
going to forgive them.
Yeah.
I mean, God is, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, what an opportunity. What an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. Everybody is our teacher. Some
Right.
show us what to do, some show us what not to do.
Mm-hmm. That's really good.
Mhm.
This portion's called Ekev, and
Yes.
it's translated. If you just translate that word from the Hebrew, it's heel.
Feel
It's the
right.
heel, right? And
Right.
a lot of people have a negative connotation about that, but think about it. Think about it this way. But also, it can also be translated if, as, when, and to the extent.
Mhm.
And that's what you were talking about, Miriam. If, as, when, and to the extent. So basically, when it says, if you will, think of that as it saying, if you will, when you will, as you will, and to the extent you will. And that
Yes.
kind of gives you a little bit better perspective of what he's asking of us.
Right. Is your heel ready to take that step? Are you
Yes,
is your
yes.
heel ready to take that
Mm-hmm.
step? Move
That's
that
right.
heel, right?
Exactly right. Move that heel. And the thing is that when that, because of the prophetic prophecy about Yeshua,
Mm-hmm.
and his heel, and that he would crush the enemy and the enemy would bruise his heel. I
Heel,
think that's how
right.
it goes. So the thing is, when we're taking steps, think about it as a footprint. And when we're taking steps, what kind are we stepping into his steps? Because
Mm-hmm.
if we're stepping into his steps that he stepped before us, if we're putting our feet on his footprints and
Mm-hmm.
there, he's going to take care of, it's not our responsibility to take care of all of the issues that come. It's his
Right,
responsibility when we're following in his footsteps, when we are committing to him and we're saying, yes, we will, then he is responsible for taking care of all of the outside things
right,
that are going
right,
on. We get to just focus and concentrate on following him. And
right,
that's what he told us to do. Come on, follow me.
right,
So we're putting our feet down. So what does your footprint look like?
right.
What type of mark are you leaving
Mm-hmm.
on the land, in every home, at
Yes,
every grocery store, at
yes.
every gas station? We talk about it all the time here, you guys. You'll always hear us be saying, what fragrance are you leaving behind? Are you leaving a
That's right.
fragrance of
Yes,
Messiah, or are you leaving a stench?
yes.
Because this is what he's talking about. This is how we shema him. We embrace him to the
Mhm.
best that we can. It doesn't mean we have to be perfect.
Right,
It's not about that. It's about
right,
embracing him to the extent that we can. If, as, when, and to the extent that we can, we grab hold of what he's saying and we walk in his ways. This will leave a fragrance of Messiah everywhere we go.
right.
And how the Holy One, oh, what he does with that, this
Yes.
is how the world gets repaired. It's called tikkun olam,
Tikkun olam. Yes. Repair.
repairing the
Right,
world.
right,
It's not just the land, but it is the land, but it's
right.
the land, but it's the people that we interact with.
Yes,
These people are fractured. These
yes,
people have no hope. These
yes.
people are they're cranky, they're crazy, they're angry, they're because they don't have hope, because they don't know who their father is. They're lost. And if we are interacting with them and leaving a footprint of being snarky, of being dismissive, of being rude to them. How are we being the light of the world? How
Right.
are we making a difference? This is ministry.
Right.
Ministry is walking this. This is it.
Right. You can't,
Greatest call.
you can't have a hat and say Yeshua on it, right?
Yeah.
Or you know,
A bumper
or
sticker.
the bumper sticker. Or didn't you love when people come over and give you their card and they have the fish sign and say, I'm a Christian and you can trust. And a lot of times people feel like, oh, that's the one I'm not going to go to, because if they have to put this
Right.
out here,
Right.
and so, whoa, it's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
A little plug here.
Sure. Plug it.
We're hopefully trying to have, God willing, a conference in November, right? A woman conference of all restoration healing, and
Yes.
they've been
Yes.
asking what topics, and that is what I was saying to Dr. Deb. When people see you or when they mention your name, if I mention, okay, Petra, Brenda, Jordan, Millie, Karen, Tiffany, when they mention your name, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What do
Right.
you think of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is so important, so important. And what are you giving out? And like in
Yes.
Avdallah, we have that spice box because we're reluctant to leave the Sabbath
To
because
explain
so
that to people that may not understand what
okay.
that is,
So
Miriam.
so at the beginning of Shabbat, we light candles. We're not commanded to, right?
Mm-mm.
But it's a way that we enter. We are commanded to keep the Sabbath. And so we like one to remember, one to observe. It could also represent the two aspects of the Messiah, right? The suffering
Yeah.
Messiah and then King David, who's going to come and reign. But
Mm-hmm.
as we have that Shabbat and the women start at the table, and if there's no women, a man could light them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they bring the light into the world. They bring the light into their home. The wife is really the home. The mother is the home.
Right.
And so you have that day, and when it's starting to get dark, and of course we know it was evening and morning the first day. So
Mm-hmm.
when it's getting to be the end of the Sabbath, there's a service called Havdalah, which means separating the Sabbath from the rest of the week. So you have those two bookends. So there's if when it is dark already, there's a candle that you can light, and then there's also they do the blessing over the wine and some blessings, but they do a blessing about the spices, the incense.
Mm-hmm.
And in Israel, they use natural herbs in the summer. So we do a double portion. Somebody's always bringing herbs. Last week we had thyme, but she had roses. So we had thyme and roses.
Oh, wow.
And then we have the spice box.
Mm-hmm.
It's fragrant, so fragrant, just like the anointing oil. And so we say, what kind of a spice are you contributing to your household, to your
Mm-hmm.
community? And what spice, like you were saying, what are you leaving? Is it a stench or is it this beautiful smell?
Mm-hmm.
It's this beautiful smell. So, really, what we're saying, what is on your face? What is in your actions? And, unfortunately, with so many, we've had this time where we had to be covered with our smile, our
Mm-hmm.
face.
Mm-hmm.
Bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so it's like, what is this fragrance? You're putting it out to your home. You can come into a home, and if somebody's been fighting, you can feel that tension.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel that tension. You all know it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the opposite? And so we're reluctant to leave. And so, what we're doing, okay, we're going to plan. And now we're getting ready, right, for this incredible month coming up of Elul, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the 49 days, which is in the Haftorah of this portion
Mm-hmm.
of comforting my people.
Yes. 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 It's been Yeah, we are in the second week of the 7 weeks of comfort. It's
Right.
beautiful. It's
Beautiful.
it's it's really beautiful, and we need that because we've gone through difficult times. And when I'm saying we're following the Torah portions that are
Right.
in alignment with Israel. That's what we're doing
Right.
here,
Yes.
and so these weeks have been really rough.
Yes.
Uh, the ninth of Av, the
Right.
destruction. Um, and so that's what's been happening now. Now it's turning, and
Yes.
now we're being comforted. And in this week's Torah portion, as Miriam was saying in Isaiah, it's 49, Isaiah,
Yes.
it's talking about the comfort and the love and how the Father loves us so dearly, so totally, so completely. He has set his affection upon his people, and he will not ever let us go.
Yes.
And that is what we need, that refreshing, that comforting, that restoring, because, life is hard things. And in the Hebrew alphabet, there's a letter called the Samech, and it
Yes.
has the S sound, and it's a circle, and it's a cycle. It's like the cycle of the ocean waves going out, and then they come back in, and then they go out, and then they come back in. It's like the cycle of the moon that is full and beautiful, and then it starts waning, and then it gets down to nothing, and then it starts building back up, and then it becomes full and beautiful again. It's the cycles, the Moedim, it's the agricultural cycles. It's talking about all of that, these cycles. There's
Yes.
highs, there's mediums, and there's lows, but it's a
Mm.
cycle. So
Yes.
even when you're in that low, you have to have hope, and your eyes have to be looking up, because you know it's going to come back up, and there will be another time where it's a high, and then there'll be another time when it's coming back down low again. And this is the cycle, the cycles of life.
Yes.
Nobody's ever in the highs all the time, nobody's in
Right.
the lows all the time. There's
Right.
cycles.
Right.
Yep. um, Wanda says the atmosphere is like the scent. I
Mm.
like that. Yeah.
Wow. That's
The
good.
atmosphere of your home is like the scent of Messiah. That is so,
Yes.
so true. Is
Yes.
it a good scent? Is it the scent of Messiah, or is it that contentious smell? That is not what we want. That
Woo-wee.
is not what we want on Friday.
No.
Not what we want on
No.
Friday. But anyway, that was,
That
yeah.
reminds me of the Bale of Peor. Pew,
Ooh,
right? Yeah.
pew, pew,
Pew.
pew, pew. Like, pew, 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 pew. Yep. I was reading this, The Taste of Torah. Some of you ladies have this. Charlie loves to read out of this. The Taste of Torah, they were talking about for this week. I better put my glasses on, or I could tell you all kinds of things that aren't actually true.
We had friends over from out of state, and she didn't have her hearing aids, and she didn't like to wear her hearing aids, and she had
Uh-huh.
here, and we said, don't worry about it, don't. But oh my gosh, she came up with stuff. I'm like, what? No, we didn't say that.
Dr. Deb asked me to email her something last night, and I emailed it, and I said, "Did you get it?" She said, "No."
Yeah.
And I emailed it again. I said, "Did you get it?" And she said, "No." I emailed it again. "Did you get it?" "No," because I didn't spell it right, because I wasn't wearing my glasses.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
had
we got to
typed
be
the
very
words wrong.
careful.
I know I could have sent it to somebody else. But one of the things that it's talking about with Moshe is our daily bread. And he fed you with manna that he might make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but man lives by every word
Wow.
that
Right.
comes from the mouth of the Lord. Well, now come on. Who said that too? Who
Mm-hmm.
quoted that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeshua did.
Mm-hmm.
He is telling us that we can't live just by bread, by
Right.
natural sources
Right.
alone, that we have to live by the word of God. And then
Right.
he explains to us that he is the bread of life.
Yes. And isn't it fantastic when we lift the bread on Friday
On
night?
Friday nights,
Oh
lifting
my
it up.
God. Yes. And we lift him up. What
Yeah,
prophetic is that? And here,
it's
the
so
Jewish
prophetic.
community, are doing lifting the bread, kind of letting it go. Oh, the smell we know. And Beth Lecken has
Mm-hmm.
the bread and lifting him up.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, he
Yeah.
is, and that smell, like you say, haven't
So
you
good.
felt like sometimes people you've never met before, and then they're believers, and you just connect, like you and I connected right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true.
And we haven't really embraced physically, have we, or touch, but we feel that presence of just
Yeah.
talking with one another.
That's right. Because we know we all are connected. That's the
We're
thing.
connected. We're
We really
connected.
are connected because we have a common goal. We have a common purpose. We have a common love.
It's
We
like the
love
pillars in the
him.
tabernacle holding each other up. One of
Yeah,
them, we can hold each other up.
that is exactly right. And in the tabernacle, the rings the rings that connected
Mm-hmm.
are ishas in Hebrew, and that's women. And we really do hold things up when we
Yes.
connect one with another,
Right.
not competing with one another, but
No.
holding each other up and encouraging each other. And that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the way that the Holy One teaches us to have family, and hey, don't look back and go, well, I didn't do that, I didn't know. Yeah, that's true,
Right.
but the
Right.
redemption of God is so amazing. Can I just tell you?
Yes.
The
Yes.
redemption of God is amazing.
And at the right time, he
It
will
is at the
appear.
right time. He will
Yes.
absolutely allow that to take place and to be redeemed from the time that it
Right.
wasn't.
You might have had a book, or somebody might have given you something
Hmm.
10, 15 years ago, right?
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden, this book is saying, crying out, take me out, read me,
yeah.
because it wasn't time. Or someone that tells you something. Wow.
Okay,
Woo-hoo.
this book was written in the 60s by a Jewish man, and I met him in the late 80s. And he
Wow.
gave me this book, and his wife wrote in this book, and she said, "Bless your Jewish heart." And I'm
Wow.
like, "Well, I'm not Jewish.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't even know what that means." Well, all of these years later, I was just thinking about this the other day, and I found this in my storage unit, and it's by Lee Amber. And
Mm.
he was in the 60s. He was a Jewish man that found Messiah when he read the Word. He found
Wow.
Messiah in the
Wow.
Torah, and
And that's what I did too. I never opened the New
I
Testament.
yes,
And
because I mean,
yeah,
Yeshua's just quoting the Torah. The whole
holding the
time.
Torah, and you ask people, there
Yeah.
was no Brit Hadashah. There was no
No,
what did they have?
the Torah and the
Well,
prophets and
and
the
the prophet.
Psalms.
Yes, yes.
Hey, I wanted to uh let's see. Pietra said Elul marks the 1 year anniversary that I joined this group with these ladies. What a gift. Thank you
Ah,
to every sister who has my back.
mm.
Amen. And we
And
do.
with
And
Petra.
right, that's
Ah,
Pietra. Uh-huh.
wow.
Let's see. Tiffany said 1 year after beginning our walk, every time just before, this is so true, just before the sun went down or just before Passover, we had something contentious happen, from the
Mm.
neighbors showing up to scream in our faces to other things. And we just left it at the door. And when we entered Shabbat, we did so wholeheartedly. I have heard
Mhm.
the adversary causes problems for people, but wow, you know, do you know that that is so true? We
Yes.
probably had probably the first, and I'm not even exaggerating, probably the first um 10 years of
Mm.
our Shabbats, that we were when we were honoring Shabbat, probably the first 10 years, it seemed to me that we would get in an argument no matter what. We would get in an argument on the Shabbat. It was like everything would just stir up, and we didn't know how to focus, or we didn't know how to. I mean, there was just so much. It was crazy, and we weren't even big arguers,
Mhm.
but it would happen. And I really do think that it's to bring us back to what to focus on. It's Shabbat. What's important?
Right.
What are we supposed to be focusing on during that? It's
Yeah.
24 hours a week, guys. It's
Yes.
it's just 24 hours. It is such a limited amount of time.
Right.
it used to seem like it went on and on and on. Is it over yet? Is it over yet? Is it over yet? I mean, I'm just being honest with you. This is when I first started. It was be like, oh gosh, is it over yet? I've got so much to do. Now it's like, oh, I want to just hit the brakes. Oh, that's why you were saying with your Havdalah, it's like
Right.
now celebrating the end of Shabbat,
Right.
lighting that candle after the sun goes down on Saturday evening, and just allowing the fragrance to just waft over us in our home.
Right. Right.
And just to stay there and not leave and not hurry it and not rush it, but knowing that we're saying goodbye to such a precious, special time. And then we have things that we can do. And God will allow us to be more productive during the week
Yes.
when we honor
Yes.
his time. We will make more money when we honor his time. We will have things
Yes.
will get done when we honor
Right.
his
It's
time,
like,
but he's asking it of
you
us.
want to waste time? I'll show you how to waste time, right? But you know, it's like I said,
Yeah.
it's a date. He's
Yeah,
asking.
it is a date.
It's a date, and he's
Yeah.
saying, "I want this time with
Yeah.
you." And I don't know if anybody, I can remember when, oh my gosh, one of my 16 years old or 15, and this fellow, I thought, oh, he was just so adorable, and he was coming over and all that. Well, then he got his driver's license,
Mm.
and he says, I'm going to pick you up with my friend in the car. And I got all ready just to see. I mean, this is years and years ago, and he never showed up. An hour went by, 2 hours went by, and I went, oh my. And I don't know if you ladies have ever had anything like that, but oh wow, I just thought. And that's a picture. It's like, get in this vehicle. You can do what you have to do the 6 days, but on this day, oh wow,
Yeah.
come with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm asking you to do that. And if you don't, if you can't, or really if you're going to do it your way, well, you're going to miss out, aren't you?
Right.
And miss
Right.
out. But I know for all of, like what you said, Brenda, all the new people that start doing it, all of a sudden their husband gets home later, and you really have to pray, or something has happened and it tries to distract you.
Yeah.
Distract you.
Face flies, I call them face flies. There's things flying in front of you to irritate you.
That's good. That's good. Yes.
It's a face fly. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, and then, or kids or whatever that are kind of just start acting up or whatever. So, you know, you really have to have that preparation, don't you? And when you were saying wholehearted, that's another name for Caleb, isn't it?
Yes.
Wholehearted. It could mean, it sometimes meant dog, didn't it?
Caleb.
Lev, but Lev, yes,
yeah.
Lev is heart.
That's and so good.
Wholehearted.
Oh, that's so good.
Are you wholehearted for me? Yes.
Yes. Oh, let's
the
see.
word Lev, second to the word Lord, is used more time in the scriptures. Wow. So is that important?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Can we talk a little bit about, you know, guys, I know that this might not sound like we're actually talking about the Torah portion, but we really are.
We really are.
This really is what is in the Torah portion. Can we talk a little bit, Miriam, I'd love to get your take on this too. In Hebrew, the word for love is very different than it is in English or in Greek. Greek has a lot of different words that kind of separate and segment love, like there's different types of love. But in Hebrew, the word for love is, the main word for love is ahav.
Yes.
And it really, and I wrote some notes down on it too, because I know that we've talked about this before, but I don't think that we could ever talk about this too much, honestly.
Right.
Because it's important for us to really grasp this as we are walking through. I'm going to just start crying.
Yeah.
As we are walking through this book Devarim, we're walking through these words that are empowering and equipping us. These are not just words that are telling us what to do. These are words that are sent by the prophet of God, by the pastor, by the dad who is overseeing the people at this time. And he has experienced these things. He was 40 days on his face before the Holy One in his presence twice. and survived.
Yes. Yes.
This is the man who he's really talking from experience, a man who has flaws like we all do, not a
Yes.
perfect man. God didn't require him to be perfect. He required him to partner, and that's what he did. And so here he is, he's speaking these words to us, and he's empowering us, and he's saying,
Mm.
these are the words, these are the ways of the Holy One. And but if you will but embrace, if you will just embrace what he is saying are his ways,
Mm-hmm.
and shema them, love him and want relationship with him, so that these things are filling your heart and mind and changing the way that you see things.
Yes.
And then you walk them out because of that, not
Right.
because you're going to get something. That's
Right.
obedience, is you
Right.
do it because you're going to
Or
get
you're,
something.
yeah, or you're going to get smacked if you don't.
Right. You're
Right.
going to get a smack, or a through shoe thrown at you if you
Right.
don't do it.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Now there are things that we have to do that are obedience.
Right.
I'm not saying that we
Exactly.
don't, but what he's asking from us is to shema
Right.
out of love and affection, because we want relationship with him. And love in Hebrew, ahav, is my favorite word. This is the
Yeah.
word that I got born again. When I saw this word written in Hebrew, I fell on
Mm.
my knees and I was born again.
Wow.
This word written in Hebrew, I've never seen, I'd never, it's not that I'd never seen Hebrew before, but I didn't know Hebrew. I didn't
Mm.
know any of the letters of Hebrew. I was acquainted with it because I wrote curriculum for a women's ministry and a children's ministry. So I was familiar with it from studying. Okay. Like Strong's Concordance and things. I was
Yes.
familiar with it, but I didn't read Hebrew.
Mm.
I didn't have an emotional attachment to it. But I was at a meeting, and I was irritated and I was upset because that's who I was. That was my life.
No, not
Yeah.
you, Katie
Yes,
Pie.
yes. Oh yeah. Very, very irritated, very, very upset. And this gentleman, I thought it was an Amway meeting. I really thought it was an Amway meeting. I did not know that it was a Shabbat meeting. I think some of you heard my testimony, but I had been teaching. I was on staff at a large congregation. I was a teacher, blah, 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 all of the things. Okay. And we were on our way to Israel. The borders closed, so we ended up having to stay in Texarkana, and my sister took me to a dinner party. I did not know it was a Shabbat meal.
Mm.
I'd never experienced or even heard of a Shabbat meal before. Never, had no idea. So we went to this, and I thought it was a dinner party. And afterwards, there was a big whiteboard in the living room, and everybody went in the living room. And that's when I thought, oh man, it's not a dinner party, it's an Amway meeting. So I'm in there and I have an attitude, and I'm like, oh geez, my
Yeah.
hands are crossed. And I was irritated. I mean, I can remember to this moment how irritated I was. And this man stands up and he starts talking about the love of God. And I'm like, been there, done that, wrote curriculum on it.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
If you knew who I was, you would be asking me to talk about the love
Right.
of God,
Yeah.
And he writes this word up there in Hebrew, Aleph. He writes, I don't even know. I can't even tell you right this minute. Right. I can't even spell it to you in Hebrew right this second. I just went blank. But anyway, he writes the word up there, which, is my favorite word. And he writes it up there, and Aleph, Hey,
Hey. Yeah. Yeah.
Bet. Yeah,
And then
that's it.
another hey. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and yes. Okay. So anyway, he writes it up there on the chalkboard. Isn't this funny? I'm telling a story and I can't remember it.
Yeah.
And typical. And he writes the word up on the board, and I look at the word, and it was like the breath of God blew into me, and I hit my knees.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah. And all I did was repent.
Wow.
And I repented, and I mean, nobody else was repenting. Everybody else was enjoying the message. It was like, this guy was really good. He knew what he was talking about. He was saying all these things. Who knew what he said? I don't know what he said. All I know is that he wrote that word up there and the breath of God blew into me. And
Wow.
so I want to explain to you maybe a little bit, like give you just a tiny, tiny taste of what love means coming from the perspective of the Father
Mm,
Hebraically.
mm,
And I know that I won't do it justice, but I'll just give you a little
wow.
bit, a little tiny bit of it.
Mm.
The word ahav, listen to the sound. Ahav,
The breath of God.
ahav.
Yes.
It's the breath. It's the breath of panting. It's
Mm,
panting after. It's that
mm,
pant. And
mm,
it's panting after with a desire, with intense desire for intimacy. So it is about relationship. It is not about self gratification or self fulfillment. It is about intimacy with the object of your affection.
mm.
And so,
Like we were saying about to
yeah,
know intimately.
yes, yes,
Yes.
to intimately know.
Oh.
The word ahav is a deep and abiding bond between the object of your affection. So
Mm.
when that scripture, it reminds me of that scripture in Psalm 9 or 91. It's one of those, either 9 or 91, 9-1 or 9-11. I don't, right, no, it was one of those, or 91-1. I don't know. It's one of those. It's 911 something. And it says, and it's talking about as a deer
Oh, pants
pants
for the yes, sing
after
that song.
the
Yes.
water. Okay, so that is the imagery. See, it's the panting, it is the
Mhm.
desire,
Yes.
it is the focus of you, and your
Mhm.
being is focused upon the object of your love.
Mhm.
And it is the deep desire for intimacy,
Mhm.
not self-satisfaction, but intimacy, for you to know them, to surround yourself with them, to benefit them, to bless them,
Mhm.
to accompany them, to participate with them. See, this is what love is.
Yes.
And the thing is that this is the love of the Father toward us.
Yes. And we first,
He is
yes.
yearning for
Right.
us to
And
turn towards Him.
that is I love that. On my table, someone made in gold the letters for Ahava, and I put it on my Shabbat table. We need to get you that to wear around your neck, don't
I
you?
know, right? So I won't forget again.
Yeah, no, but it'd be beautiful. But
I would love that. That
yeah,
is
we've
just,
got to get some of those. Well, but
yes, it's meaningful. You guys, it's meaningful
meaningful.
interactions. It's
Yes,
not like in without God, when we love somebody, what's actually happening is, we're infatuated usually. That's usually
yes,
like the biggest part of it. So we're having stirred up feelings and emotions. And
mhm,
yes, love has feelings and emotions, but the feelings and emotions are coming from an intense yearning desire that is taking your breath away, because the object of your affection is somebody that you want to benefit.
right,
You want to benefit them. You're seeking to benefit them. And that's the Father, how He loves us, is He is seeking to benefit us. Does He love everybody? Yes. People
yes,
who are people who don't love Him? Yes, He loves everybody. But when
right,
we turn to Him, when we participate and we turn to Him, He is able to actually connect with us. And
mm,
then Ahav pours over us.
right,
People who refuse to connect with Him don't get to experience
right,
love like we have the opportunity to experience. We want them to. That's why we need to leave a good footprint. That's
yeah,
why we need to leave a fragrance, so that they'll begin panting after the
right,
the heel that
yes,
steps and makes that fragrance. That's
right.
what we want them panting after, not panting after us, but
No,
panting after Him.
right. That they see the
Yeah.
Yeshua in us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
in Isaiah 49:14, and starting with the Haftorah, and it says, "But Zion said, the Lord has forsaken me, and the Lord has forgotten me." And it says, "Can a woman forget her
Oh,
nursing child?" and have no compassion on the son of her womb? Oh, even these may forget, but I will not forget you. Behold, I have inscribed you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are continually before me. Your builders hurry. Your destroyers and devastate will depart from you. Lift up your eyes and look around you. Look around and see the beauty of God. And He's surrounding us. He's surrounding us with this love. And we have a song, come to me, my daughters of Zion. Come to me, return to me, Israel. The Lord has taken your punishment. He has forsaken. But He is the one that's going to wrap His arms. Can any of us leave a crying child? Or will anybody, how much do we love our children? Mm-hmm. How much more then does He love us? Yes. And we have to, and when it's in 1 Corinthians, I don't know how many of you, Avi Ben Mordecai has a new series out, and it's all about defining biblical love. And he's talking about that, the love from 1 Corinthians, but a different way. He's talking about that we have to understand He is love upon us first.
Yes, yes.
And, many of us didn't grow up with that.
Right.
And it's hard to even comprehend that when we fail or make a mistake, He's going to love us.
Right.
And that's why many people stay away, isn't it?
Yeah. We think of it as unconditional love. It's really unstoppable love.
Oh, that is good. Unstoppable.
It's unstoppable. He will never. What does it say in Romans? Yes. Romans 8. Let's turn to that. That's like the perfect.
And that's in the Brit Hadashah for this Torah portion.
Yeah, Romans 8. Let's look at that.
Okay.
And this is when this is when we need music. This is when we need music when I'm grabbing my bar. Do 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 do. Okay, Romans 8. All right. Let's see. Wow, the whole chapter is just so amazing. But
31, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, let's do that one. Wow. What then shall we say in view of all these things? If God, ladies, let this blow through you right now, please.
Yes.
Let this blow through you. Those whatever is fractured in your heart today, whatever is keeping you from taking that next step, whatever is weighing upon you to the point where you cannot even move forward, let the word of the Holy One just speak life to you right now and bring healing and health to you.
Yes.
What then shall we say in view of all of these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how shall he not also with him freely give us all things?
Yes.
Who shall bring a charge against God's elect? It is God who justifies. Who is the one who condemns? It is Messiah who died and moreover was raised and is now at the right hand of God, who also intercedes. Yes, Abba, intercedes for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Messiah? Shall tribulation?
Well, no.
It tries, but it can't.
Right, can't.
Distress?
No.
Persecution?
No.
Famine?
No.
Nakedness?
No.
Danger?
Mm-mm.
Sword?
Mm-mm.
COVID?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, wait, is that in there? I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
As it is written, for your sake, we are being put to death all day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. We can get into that one later. But in all of these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am convinced, this is the finale, guys. This is crescendoing, right? For I am convinced. There you go, Miriam. Do you want to read that, Miriam?
For I am convinced that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor things present, nor things to come, nor powers, nor heights, nor depths, nor any other creative thing shall be able to separate us from the love of our Abba Father, which is in Messiah Yeshua
That's it.
Adonai. Yes.
That's it. That's
Wow.
right. We don't earn the love of God. We don't earn his blessings. You realize that he is the creator of all things, and he has poured his love upon every person. And all he's asking for us is to turn around, shuv, to return,
Right.
turn
Right.
back to him,
Shiva. Yes.
and
Shiva.
turn back to him, and just turn to him, and then he will guide you. We love him because he loves us.
Yes.
We love him. We think we can't love him. Yes, we can, because he loves us.
Right. And you
So
know,
we
in
just
this
look at.
Torah portion,
Mm-hmm,
it goes along right what we were doing in Romans in chapter 8
mm-hmm,
of Devarim, Deuteronomy.
mm-hmm.
All the commandments I'm commanding you today, you shall be careful to do, that you may
Yeah,
live
yeah,
and multiply and
yeah.
go in and possess the land which the Lord swore to give to your fathers.
Right.
And you shall remember
Mm-hmm,
all the way which the Lord your God has led you in the wilderness these 40 years, that he might what? Humble you,
mm-hmm,
testing you. Isn't that
mm-hmm.
what we just read?
Yeah,
To
right.
know
Yeah,
what was in your love, what was in your heart.
right. To build your
Whether
heart
you
up
would,
so that it
yeah,
can continue, so that it can continue
right,
loving him. It's teaching your heart
yeah,
how to love. That's what the trials do. Teach
right.
your heart how to love and
And
respond.
whether, right, whether you would
Go.
keep those commandments or not. And he humbled you and let you be hungry and fed you with manna, which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, that he might make you understand that man, which we said before,
Yes.
does not live by bread alone, but man lives by everything that proceeds out of the mouth of the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Wow. And it keeps going
It's
and
so
going.
good.
And
Good,
wow.
good, good, good. And where are you exactly? Where
Okay, I'm in
verse are you?
Deuteronomy 8. I
Mm-hmm,
started at 1
mm-hmm.
and I went, and did we read? Oh, 4. Your clothing did not wear,
Yeah.
nor did your foot swell these 40 years. And I don't know about you, but maybe after standing on my feet, sometimes my foot has a kind of swell, right?
We're just talking to those ladies, those of us over 50 or 60.
Right, right, right.
Our feet swell.
Yes. Thus you are to know in your love, in your heart, that the Lord your God was disciplining you just as a man disciplines his son. Therefore, keep his commandments
Mm-hmm,
of the Lord your God to
mm-hmm.
walk with the heel
Yes.
before you,
Yeah.
walk
There you
in
go.
his
There's the
ways,
heel.
yeah, and to fear him.
Yeah.
So the Lord your God is bring you into a good new land. And the land can be this temple, this heart, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also a land of brooks of water, Mayim Kaim, living water, of
Mm,
fountains and springs flowing forth in valleys and hills. And then it goes on about the 7 species that's in the
beautiful.
Torah portion. Wow. So
It's
we are,
so
ladies, we
good.
are also doing this Torah portion.
Yes, we are. It's beautiful
Yes.
because the things that we're talking about are the highlights of this Torah
Highlights.
portion.
Yes.
You know,
Because there's so
he's
much.
telling us. Oh, there's so much. So Miriam, he's telling us here. He's telling us that he wants us to, and he says this throughout the Torah. He wants us to shamar. He wants us to keep his
Yes.
commandments. Shamar, which means to view it as a treasure, to
Yes.
treasure it with all of your heart, to hold it close to you and guard it with everything that you have. It's like the most prized possession that you can have. So he says,
Yes.
keep. When he says that, whenever you say that,
Yes.
hear that in English,
Yes.
in the Hebrew, it's saying shamar. So that's one
Right.
of the 3 things he's asking us to do:
Yes.
shamar it, treasure it,
Yes.
keep it, guard it with all that you are,
Yes.
guard it. Keep his word. He's asking us to do his word, which is asah, which means it's a building term. It means to put your hands to it,
Right.
actually to involve yourself with all of your energies, with everything that you are, to accomplishing with what he has given you, the materials that he's given you. You're putting them together as he instructs. You're putting
Mhm.
all of this stuff together so that you're building whatever it is that he's instructing you to do. So
Mhm.
you're doing it. It is actual participation, people.
Yes.
It's not a theory.
No,
It's
no.
actually doing it. So when he says to honor your parents, it means that you actually have to do it. You have
Right.
to
Yes.
actually honor them. And what does that look like? Oh, it's amazing. There are a lot of ways that you can honor people,
It doesn't mean
even
agreeing
people,
with everything they do.
no,
No, no,
no,
no.
but
If they're
even
not
people who have hurt, wounded, fragmented,
right.
abused you. The honor is something that you
Respect.
give. It's respect that you give before God for the fact that they birthed you. Their seed
Exactly. Right.
birthed you,
Right.
and therefore you have life because of that. And if that is the only thing that you can honor them in, at
Right.
least do that.
At
The
least do
fact
that.
that you have
Exactly.
life, and go from there. You
Yes.
know, maybe that's all you can do, and that's
Right.
fine.
Right.
But the thing is that you have to actually do it. So he's saying these things that I'm telling you, you need to do them.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's saying guard them,
Mm-hmm.
keep them like the most precious treasure. Do them because I'm giving you instructions. I'm giving you the building equipment, the things that you need to actually build this. So put them together as I instruct you to do them. You know, put it together, um, and shema it, which means to hear it with your ears, but to absorb it into your whole body, so that honoring and delighting in what he is saying becomes first and foremost in
Mm-hmm.
us. We do it not out of obedience, but out of absolute passionate love.
Yes.
There's a huge difference.
Yes.
A lot of people obey things from God. They'll obey the commandments, but there's another level which is shemaing them,
Right.
and that's when
Right.
you actually are absorbing the heartbeat of God, when you're actually allowing him to lead you in the dance and you're letting go and letting him lead. That's the
Yes.
shemaim part
Because
of
you
it.
can go through the emotions,
You
can't
can
you?
you can totally go through the motion of it all, and
Right.
it doesn't mean anything to you, and it doesn't
Right.
change you,
The
and it
same as
doesn't leave a
praying.
fragrance behind.
Right. Right. The
It's
same as
bland.
prayer. That's why they say they have the kavanah. And that's why they
Yeah.
say, even like here, we're preparing every one of you when your heart's ready for the
Yeah.
Sabbath. And then put on some music. Put on some
Yes.
incredible music. Doesn't that get your heart going? And
Mm.
oh wow. And
That's the mood.
it's the mood. It sets the mood.
It's
And that's
date
what,
night, ladies.
yes. And Friday night is for what? It's the feminine aspect of God,
Yes.
having that beautiful light, and the women bringing the light, and
Mm-hmm.
everything is just incredible,
Mm-hmm.
incredible. That's that female aspect.
Mm-hmm. As an Isha, as a woman,
Yes.
you have this incredible, um, it's not an obligation at all. You have an incredible opportunity every week,
Right.
whether your family participates in the Shabbat or not.
Right. You.
Every week you have this opportunity to set a mood in your home that is delighting the Holy One.
Mm-hmm.
You can set that, even if it is you lighting the candles and
Right.
everybody else watching a basketball game and eating
Right.
pizza. Okay.
Right.
It's
Right.
the fact that you get to do this, you get to bring this into your home.
Mm-hmm.
Ask him how you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't compare yourself to other people. If
Right.
you want
Right.
suggestions, of course, get suggestions from people, but
Right.
don't get suggestions and then say, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't bake bread. I'm gluten intolerant. I can't do that. Don't,
There's
don't do
always a
that.
way.
There's always a way. There is a way. And if you ask him, he'll show you the way for you and
Right.
for your family. And just take baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's nothing more than just lighting a candle is a physical act. It is not a requirement. It's a
Right.
physical act that reminds us that he is the light of the world, and
Yes.
that we are the light of the world
Right.
extended. We're his
Yes.
billboards.
Oh wow. That's
We're
good.
his billboards. So
Right.
when we light that light, it
Mm-hmm.
is not just about who God is, it's about who he is, who Messiah is to us,
Yes.
in us,
Yes.
and through us to others. So that light is not just about lighting a light, it's not what you do to a god. Light a light for a god, to appease a god. It's not that at all.
No.
You're lighting a light to remind everyone who sees that flame.
And you know,
They don't know, they'll ask,
right.
why are you
And
doing that? Why are you
yeah.
doing that?
And you do whatever's in your means.
Yeah.
But you know,
Right.
today you can go to Dollar Tree and you can
Yes.
find glasses, you can find doilies, you can the
Yep.
paper that you can dollar chargers. You can, you know, you can save up, but make it different than the rest of the week.
Different than the rest of the week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Separate.
Apart.
Yes.
Separate. But how many, even if you have a husband that isn't wanting to do it, when you set a table and you have the music and you have the right, who is going to say they're not going to want to eat a meal and share? And believe me, eventually they will come. They will come.
Oh, somebody said, as a deer pants after the water, Psalm 42. Yes, it is. I thought it was Psalm 91, 191, Right. I didn't know. It's somewhere around there. Okay. Thank you so much, Marcia. I appreciate you. You guys got to keep me honest here. I forget.
You know what? I've always admired somebody that can just right off their head know what, you know, with the script. I'm not one of those. That's not my gift in that sometimes I don't know what, but I might know what it says. It's just someone also say, you know, the singer. I might not know who the singer is, but I remember the song. Everybody has different gifts.
Yes, yes, we do. Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you, Marcia, for blessing my my story by putting the correct address in there. Thank you.
Right.
What was the verse in 1 Corinthians? 1 Corinthians.
Which for what?
Millie just asked, what was the verse in 1 Corinthians?
Did we say?
Which one did we say? Which one it was?
Did we say 1 Corinthians 13 about the love? Was that it?
Probably could have. I don't remember that. But the other scripture that we were looking at was Romans 8.
Romans 8.
Yeah.
31, starting at 31.
So where else can we go? We have a few minutes left here. So where else can we go in here?
Well,
the 2 tablets.
And we talked also about the gratefulness in verse 10.
Yes.
When you've eaten and are satisfied, you shall bless the Lord your God for the good land which he has given you. Beware lest you forget the Lord your God by not keeping his commandments,
treasuring
and his ordinance, which I'm commanding you today. Lest when you've eaten and satisfied and have built beautiful homes and houses and have great cars, and you're just riding on high, right? When your herds and your flocks, right? Multiplying your silver and gold and all your finances are just up there. Then your heart becomes proud and you forget the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of misery, Mitzrayim, narrow straits, out of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. He led you through the great and terrible wilderness with its fiery serpents and scorpions and thirsty ground where there was no water. He brought water for you out of the rock of flint.
Yes.
In the wilderness, children, he said, I fed you manna, which your fathers did not know, that he might humble you. And what? He provided a double portion, right?
Yeah, he did.
So they wouldn't have to go out.
Right.
And wow, what some of them still went out, didn't they?
Yeah.
Or they got too much. And he might test you. And this is what we said. All of this testing is for our good, to do good for you in the end. Otherwise, you might say in your heart, my power, my strength of my hand made me well. But you shall remember, here you go again,
remember Zakar,
your God, for it is he who's giving you the power, the ability to make wealth, that he may confirm his covenant. And how do we do a covenant? We have a meal we share together. Which he swore to your fathers is in this day. Wow. So good.
That's really good, Miriam. When you just said that, it reminded me of salt covenant. When you
Yes,
in the ancient times when people
yes,
ate together, it was literally a
yes,
covenant of
yes,
salt.
yes.
And if you ate with somebody, their enemies became your enemies, and you were giving them, when they came to your home and sat at your table, you were actually putting a covering over them, saying, when you leave here, your enemies are now my enemies, and I will protect you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a covenant.
Yes.
And that's why you just didn't invite any old stranger into your home, because
Okay,
if
it's
you ate
special.
with
Right.
them,
Right.
you were saying that you were making a covenant with them and you would protect them. So if they left,
Mm-hmm.
you had to protect them.
Right. And you know what they did? They ratified a covenant. They put salt in their hands and they
Mm-hmm.
said, there's salt, between us. And that, I
Oh,
think
I
that's
love
where the
that.
salt shaker came
Yes,
on our table.
I think so. Isn't that beautiful, ladies? So when you pour salt, when you're at dinner tonight and you put some salt on something,
Mm-hmm.
just think about that. You're making a covenant and you're saying your enemies are going to be my enemies, and I will protect you with my life.
Mm-hmm.
I will protect you with my
Mm-hmm.
life. That, and Miriam, that's what you were saying before. It's like when you're sitting at a table and you've got candles lit and you've got nice music playing and you have an amazing meal, it is really hard to be mad with one another.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
really, it's really easy to just let everything go, just let it go, have that mood, have that time where you are blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this covenant that we make, it is important.
Mm.
And we make that with our loved ones when we eat, and we don't think about that. But see, that's why we're always trying to bring in things from the ancient Near East, because
Yes.
there's meaning behind all of these things that we
Meaning,
do,
yes, because in the
and we
Middle East,
don't know.
I would say, when Arafat or something was going to
Hmm.
try and make a covenant with Netanyahu or whatever, until they sat and ate a meal together,
Yeah.
it wasn't ratified. It was nothing. So, and what do? You do the bread and the wine. You sit at the table,
Yeah.
you know, and like from Petra, to be the salt of the earth, making righteous covenants. So good, Petra. Love it.
Very good.
And
Very
salt
good.
is a preservative. Yes. Yes. May we be the
Being in
salt.
unity, yes, against unrighteousness. I love that. And salt is a preservative, and salt
Yes.
is a healing agent.
Healing. And
Yeah.
my husband wanted to see these crystals of salt, and we went to Morton Salt Company. I think it was in Colorado, and you should have seen. He wanted to buy one. Oh my gosh! Or look, it was like thousands and thousands
Oh,
of dollars.
gee.
Isn't that crazy? But that's how the salt, right? And they just kind of broke off. It's not how it is, but
Okay. Somebody needs to turn their camera off.
okay,
Sure. Just a moment.
okay.
Let me turn the camera off here. There we go.
So how incredible is that we are to be the salt. And oh my gosh, what happened with whose wife? Lot's wife? She
Right.
What was that with the pillar of salt? She
Yeah.
turned into a pillar of salt.
She turned into a pillar of salt. Yeah.
Wow.
That's, well,
Mhm.
and then that was a mess.
Yeah.
And then the wind's blowing, and
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
telling where she ended up, right?
Yeah. And animals wanting to lick her,
Yeah,
lick
I
her for the
know,
salt.
right?
Yeah. I'm going to have some of the salt. Oh my God.
That's so funny. I never thought about the animals wanting to lick her. That's true.
I just
Yeah.
thought of that.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is really good. And then, in
Oh
verse,
yeah, Dead Sea is nothing but salt. Oh my gosh, I was in
yes.
the Dead Sea, and you just keep bouncing around, bouncing around. And I can remember my husband saying, "Where are you going? You're going out too far," because they had these buoys, these lines, and you just kept bouncing and bouncing. But another thing with the Dead Sea, what it takes in, but it doesn't put out.
That's
So we are not
interesting.
supposed to be like the Dead Sea.
Right. We're
Mhm.
supposed to always be givers,
Giver.
not takers.
Mm-hmm. And when I came out of the Dead Sea, it was like oil, and you wipe it off. But I had a little bit of calluses from walking, and it was
Uh-huh.
all gone. And also when you were saying about Ahava and love, there's a whole factory right there, Ahava Products.
Yes.
And they took us through the factory and everything.
Beautiful.
It
Yeah,
was
they have very good products.
very good and all about, and they have spas and everything there with the Dead Sea. So it's also a great healing.
Healing agent. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. Somebody said, I love that. Let's see. Um, I love salt. I tell everyone I'm just working on my covenant with the Father.
Yeah.
I love that. Be the salt of the earth. Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. Salt is a preservative. Dead Sea is nothing but salt. And that's what I said. She was a salt lick. And then it became a restaurant here in
Yes.
Texas. Yes.
Yes.
That's good. That's really good. So let's move forward and look at we've got a little bit of time here. Moses says for us to remember again with the Zakar word, remember, bring to the forefront of your mind, put your intention toward it, not just remembering like a flickering of a movie, but remembering it with intention to
Right.
allow it to be part. Never forget how you provoked the Father to wrath in the wilderness. Okay, so he's going to talk about that, about the wilderness, and then he went up because he's talking about the golden calf. So he is saying, don't forget that. All right, let's not have a repeat of that. He
Yes.
went up the mountain to receive the tablets.
Yes. Are
He
you
was
in
up
first?
there.
Are you in chapter 9?
Yeah, chapter 9, verse 9 says, when I went up to the mountain to receive the tablets of stone, the tablets of the covenant that Adonai cut with you, I stayed on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. I did not eat bread or drink water. Now, you realize that he is talking about a completely supernatural experience. First of all, we're pretty sure that when he was up there that he got the plans to the tabernacle.
Right.
Because he was seeing it actually, he was actually seeing, and he was in the heavenly realm, so he was seeing what it actually looked like and how it functioned. So he was able to instruct the building of a tabernacle because he saw it.
And the rest of them, they didn't want to go with him.
No, it was too much. It was too intense.
Too intense. They said, "Let Mikey do it. Let
Yeah,
Moshe do
let
it."
Mikey
Right.
do it. He'll do it. He'll do anything.
Right.
Oh my gosh, we just proved our age.
Yes. People
So
go, "Wow, what the what?
what are they
Who's
talking
Mikey?"
about? Never mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he goes up there for 40 days and 40 nights, no food or no water. Why? How could that be?
How can
Okay,
that be?
I'm going to link you guys to the New Testament. So let's get that little hyperlink going to the New Testament.
Right.
Yeshua said, when you drink of my water, you will never thirst again.
Right.
Okay, ding, ding,
Yes.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
When you eat, I am the bread of life.
Yes.
You will never hunger again.
Hunger.
Ding, 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 ding. Those are the hyperlinks. So Moses
Yes.
is actually experiencing firsthand what we are only seeing tiny, tiny glimpses of.
Yes.
And isn't that beautiful? 40 days and 40 nights he was there before the Holy One, getting this download. And it
Yes.
I know it says in it talks about it in, gosh, I can't think of the scripture right now. Sorry, guys. It's either Ezekiel or Isaiah, but it's talking about the flooring was it says in English, it says sapphire.
Sapphires.
It was a clear blue sapphire.
Oh, wow.
And in Hebrew, it says sepher, which is also the word, guys.
Yes.
Hold on to your hats.
Yeah.
For the word of God.
Yes.
So think about that, the beauty, the color that was coming through, the thing that was the most amazing, beautiful sea of the sapphire.
It looks like, yeah.
Isn't that amazing? He was walking upon the life-giving beauty, the fragrance, and the beauty of the word.
Wow.
Well, that's according to Brenda. That's according to me. But here he is, 40 days, 40 nights. He didn't eat, he didn't drink. Adonai gave me 2 tablets of stone. Wait, hold on now. 2 tablets of stone written by his finger. The finger of Adonai, the finger of God, wrote these 2 tablets. And And at the end of the 40 days, Adonai gave me the 2 tablets of stone, the tablets of the covenant that he made with his people, the 10 words of empowerment that said, this is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you think about the 10 commandments, ladies, think about the 10 words of empowerment that identify you as his own,
Yes,
his
10
people.
utterances.
Who are you? These utterances tell you who you are. You
And
know
you
who
know,
you are? You're somebody who loves the Lord your God with all of your might and strength.
mm-hmm.
That's who you are.
Right. And these, when people say, oh, why are you doing these Jewish things, or why are you doing the Sabbath? This was all before.
Yes,
This is
yes,
the Lord's. It isn't
yes.
just Jewish. Right.
No, no. He used the Jewish people. They were
Right.
his. They were the vehicle.
Yes.
That
They were to be a light. Yes.
yes, and he chose them so that they would be a light to the world.
Yes.
Absolutely, 100%. But the idea of the commandments, the things that he wrote, the words, the utterances of empowerment that he spoke forth and wrote with his finger, those have nothing to do with any nationality. That is for the world. And when those words
Right.
came out, when those words were spoken forth,
Mm-hmm.
the rabbis say that those words traveled throughout the entire earth in
Hmm.
every moment. In the moment that these words came forth, they traveled through the entire earth, and everyone was healed.
Woo.
People were healed all at the same time. It was a miraculous, like in Acts chapter 2. People
Yes.
were healed miraculously from all the nations, because then it says that everyone heard, everyone walked. So there was no blind, there was no deaf, there was nobody that was lame. Everyone was healed. So see, this is just a supernatural. Can you imagine? There's a whole lot packed into this one little itsy
Yes.
bitsy verse.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then at the end of the days, he gets up quickly, go down, because your people, I love how, because the Holy One says, because your people,
Your people, not
your
my
people,
people.
yeah, your people who you brought out of Egypt have acted corruptly. They have quickly turned from the way that I commanded them, and they've made a molten image for themselves. And so Adonai spoke, saying, I have seen this people, and it is indeed a stiff-necked people. Leave me alone so that I may destroy them and blot out their name from under the heavens. And then I will make you into a nation mightier and greater than thee. Who's you? You, Moses, the only one that said yes, the only one that the only one that took
Yeah.
the
Uh-huh.
next step. Okay, so he
Yeah.
said, I'll make you a nation. I'll get rid of all these guys. So Moses is saying, so I turned and I came down from the mountain while the mountain was burning with fire. So burning with fire, the
Judgment.
the
Mm-hmm.
sheen, the fire of God, the fire of his manifest presence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was what it was. Can you imagine the lightning storms, the
Wow.
flames that are going up, the smoke, the heat? Can you imagine? No wonder they didn't want to go up.
Right. Right.
We'll
Right.
die.
Yeah. Aish. Aish.
Yeah, ish. Exactly. And so anyway, you remember what Moses contended with the Holy One. He said, please, Father, don't do that. Don't destroy them, because if you destroy them, then your testimony to the nations will be that you delivered a people to kill them.
Mm.
And your testimony is not that you deliver to people to kill them. You deliver to people so that you would have relationship. They would be your people and you would
Right.
be their God. So Moses was contending for the people. So
Mm-hmm.
he runs down the hill
Mm-hmm.
and he sees what's going on,
Oh,
and he
wow.
has to break the commandments. And we're not told specifically. The rabbis have a lot of really good thoughts about that, a lot of thoughts about different varying opinions about the reason why that the commandments had to be broken. But the covenant that was made with the people, they broke the
Yeah.
covenant, and the covenant needed to be shattered in order to be ratified, to the covenant to be redone. It had to be shattered. They couldn't hold on to that particular that particular covenant, because they broke the covenant with the Holy One.
Yeah.
Yeah. And would he have wanted them in that state of their being
Mm-mm.
to
Mm-mm.
be held accountable to the covenant? No. It was his mercy and his grace. It's
Yes.
always about
Always
redemption.
about redemption.
You're going to
Yes.
find redemption in every single story
Yes.
that we
Yes.
that we
Yes.
everything that we learn about with God. It's always about his ultimate goal here is always about redemption and
Yes.
redeeming.
Yes. Right.
Um, okay, yeah, the gem was sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
That was the word that was used, Millie. So anyway, Moses comes back down. He turns and comes back down, and the two tablets were covered, were in my hands. And when I looked, okay, so he smashed them, and then he fell down before Adonai like the first time for 40 days and 40 nights. So he goes back up.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know, I didn't realize this, but I was reading in some of the commentary that the rabbis, and Miriam, maybe you can help me with this. I didn't recognize this before,
Mm-hmm.
but this year, reading the commentary, it really gave me the idea that, you know, when the people repented after the golden calf issue that
Mm-hmm.
happened, the people really repented. They really were sorry that they did that. It wasn't like they were just walking around with a smart mouth and a smart attitude. They were
Right.
really,
Right.
really,
Right.
really sorry. They
Yes.
really did repent.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that that says everything, because then he's continuing
Mm-hmm.
to pour out. And all of this, in all of this, can I just tell you right now about the love of God? He
Mm-hmm.
never stops loving. It's
No.
unstoppable. His love is
No.
unstoppable. He does not stop loving, even when people wrong, even when
Yes.
people rebel, even when
Mm-hmm.
people are stiff necked.
Right.
Hello.
And just think, when your children do
Yeah,
wrong or make a mistake, you still love them. You still love
absolutely.
them. And so I know, and many of us have had in our brain, because, we would be scared. Wait till your dad comes home, right? Or I can remember the first time I took out the car with my sister, went to the library. A man opened the door right in front of me. I couldn't go, and I took off the man's car door.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my gosh. And he comes
Oh,
out screaming. That was the first time. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is
oh,
my,
that's trauma.
yeah, this is my dad's new car. Oh
Mm,
my gosh. And I thought, he is just going to just go crazy with, and we have these images in our head of
yeah.
maybe what our parents,
Right.
or somebody, or
Right.
hopefully, God forbid,
Yeah.
a husband abusive, or if you said
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
you were verbally abused. And so we got to get that out of our head, that that's not our God. That's not our
Right. He
Father.
he doesn't react.
He
He doesn't
doesn't
react that
react that
way.
way.
No.
Now, if you
He's
keep
slow
doing
to
it,
anger.
yeah, slow to anger, but if you keep
Yeah.
doing it, doing it, doing
Hmm.
it,
Yeah.
it was like Pharaoh. The heart was hardened, because there's
Right.
a point where he said, okay, enough already.
Yeah.
He is Jewish, and he's going to
Yeah.
say, all right, enough already. I've
Enough
had it.
already.
I've had it with you. I've had it with you, kids.
I love that. I love that. Well, let's fast forward because we're out of time now, but let's
Oh,
fast
God.
forward to 11. And 11 is again reiterating what we talked about earlier, because I bounced around. Sorry, guys.
Mhm.
But it's
Mhm.
talking about the love of God.
Yes.
It's really, truly
Yes.
talking about the love of God. And here
Yes.
he is. He wants us to, it says in English, obey. Remember that in Hebrew, it's saying Shema.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not about just doing something to get something. It's
Mhm.
about doing something because you have a love relationship and your heart is
Yes.
panting to go after what
Yes.
is, and to have connection and intimate
Yes.
connection with
Intimate
what he's
connection.
saying. Mhm.
Hakesher, the connection.
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
that's good. That's good, Miriam. So he is talking about this. I love what he's saying. There's so much good, there's so many good things. Verse 18 says, therefore you are to set these words of mine. This is
Right.
the Holy One saying this. You are to set these words of mine in your heart
Yes.
and in your soul, in your lev and in
Mm-hmm.
your nephesh, in your
Yes.
heart and in your soul. You are to bind them
It's a
as a
sign.
sign on your hand. If you
Yes.
bind them as a sign on your hand, that everything that you do, you're doing with the sight
Mm-hmm.
of his words. Everything that you put your hands to, everything that you create, everything that you do,
Yes.
every motion that you're making, if they are a sign on your hand, it means that you're looking through those words and accomplishing what you are accomplishing with them in the forefront of your mind. changes that a lot, doesn't it? When you
Yes,
think about that, if they're on your hand,
yes,
then
yes.
that's what they're
And
saying.
and then you will write them on the doorpost of
And
your
that,
house and on your gates. And that's our mezuzah. And
right,
aren't we a walking
aren't we?
mezuzah?
Yes. And Miriam, with the mezuzah, how does that change the atmosphere of your home when you walk into your home? Every single time you walk into the home, you know that you have just walked through the words of the Holy One,
Yes. Yes.
blessing your home and
Blessings.
creating a space, a holy space
Yes.
in the door frame of your home. It's a holy
Right.
space when you walk into it.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about what that would mean, because honestly, ladies, this is a really great way for you to bless your home without
Yes.
this is
And
just,
if you can't afford, which they are all, they're all different
yeah,
prices and
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
but it's encased.
yeah.
And of course, the Jewish community, uh, if they're very observant, they want you to tell you, with the shin to place it inward and
Mhm,
whatever, and
mhm,
and to have, and you can have it not only on your door, you can have it on every door
mhm,
opening, except they
mhm.
say for the
Yeah,
bathrooms.
don't do the
Mhm.
bathroom, but yeah,
Yeah,
all the other doors.
yeah,
And what it does is it every time. Okay, so Brendan Bouchard, he's a an influencer, a famous guy that teaches people how to build businesses and stuff.
yes, an
And
entrepreneur. Yeah,
he is an entrepreneur and he's a believer and he has no problem talking about his faith. I love that about him. But he says that what he does every single time, one of his ways of success in his life is that every time he walks through a door, he walks through the door. And when he walks through the doorway, the frame of the doorway, he
right.
walks through and he says, how am I going to make this space better?
Wow,
How is my presence going to make this
wow,
space
wow.
better?
So it's the Shema,
It's the
and
Shema.
it's the Shema inside the mezuzah.
Yeah.
It's the Shin, the fire of God, and about those
Yes.
pillars and those
Yeah.
mountains. And so we're to be careful who we let cross our threshold.
Yes.
And it's also the attitude.
Yeah.
And then, people, a lot of people just touch it and kiss it. It's not that you're using it as an idol. It's
No,
saying,
no, no, not at all.
no, not
Yes.
at all. I'm remembering, I love it. It's adoration, the same as the Torah. So may
Yes.
you take those words with you this week.
Yeah.
These Torah portions, wow, some are shorter, some are longer. So much in them.
So
And
much.
thank you for the privilege. And we pray again for our dear Charlie and her
Charlie.
husband,
Hmm.
that they're
Yes.
getting the rest and healing and that sleep that they need. And so may all of you, as we begin this preparation now,
Yeah.
we wind down, no matter where
Yes.
you are, that
Hmm.
you will be blessed. And as
Yes.
women, we will be that light. We will be those candles tonight.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Miriam, I am going to release you, and
Thank you. Yes,
everyone who is, she's got a big, she's invited her neighbors over tonight for
yes,
Shabbat. So
yes.
thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank
Uh,
you.
ladies, those of you that are on Facebook Live, thank you so much for joining us.
Mhm.
We're going to go ahead and stop the recording now and go into our after party. It'll be a short after party today. But those of you on Facebook, thank you so much. Come and join
Thank
us
you.
here if
God
you
bless you.
can.
Yes.
Thank you
Blessings
so
to all of
much.
you.
And if you had questions and I didn't answer them, I apologize. I'll go on Facebook. And if you had any questions, I'll try to answer those today. Blessings to all of you. Thank you so much.
Blessings. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Bye bye.